Welcome to Paranormal Nightshift, your home for everything that goes bump in the dark, where your chilling fan stories come to life, right here in the dead of night. Tonight, we bring you a tale wrapped in shadows and secrets, a story whispered among locals, passed down like a warning. They call it the House of Roses. But what happens when curiosity leads the living into a place that refuses to be forgotten? Before we dive into the eerie depths of this story, make sure to visit paranormalnightshift.com and claim your free copy of The Birth of Dimensional Desperado, the first ebook in the thrilling Dimensional Desperado series. If you love ghostly encounters, time-bending mysteries, and cowboy grit, you won't want to miss it. And now, let's step into the shadows together. The chill of late October air pressed against my skin as I drove down the narrow county backroad leading us to the House of Roses. My heart pounded with excitement and trepidation, the thrill of adventure mingling with the eerie stories we'd heard growing up in Alabama. It was Halloween season when the veil between the ordinary and the supernatural felt especially thin, and tonight my friends and I were determined to uncover the truth behind the infamous house. I glanced around the car at my three friends, their faces illuminated by the dim glow of the dashboard lights. We'd been hanging out all evening, sharing laughs and a few drinks, when the idea to find the House of Roses had taken root. The stories were well known in our town. A family of 5, husband, wife, and 3 young children, had been brutally murdered within those very walls years ago. The house had since been abandoned, and the once beautiful rose bushes were now wild and overgrown, a haunting reminder of the tragedy. "Are you sure about this?" Jake, the most daring of us, asked, his voice tinged with excitement and uncertainty. "Come on, Jake," I replied, trying to mask my nervousness. "It's just an old house. We've got flashlights and the car. What could go wrong?" The road was a mix of asphalt and gravel, winding through dense woods that seemed to close around us. As we drove deeper into the forest, the light from the car's headlights pierced through the darkness, casting long shadows between the trees. The sense of isolation was palpable. This was a place forgotten by time, far removed from the safety of our neighborhood. After what felt like an eternity, the outline of the house emerged through the trees. It sat off a long gravel drive, obscured by overgrown vegetation. To my surprise, the front of the house looked somewhat maintained, the rose bushes blooming defiantly despite the years of neglect. The facade, though aged, still held a certain elegance, the windows reflecting the moonlight in a ghostly shimmer. We parked the car, the engine's hum fading into the stillness of the night. With the headlights still shining on the porch, we grabbed our flashlights and approached the entrance. The air was thick with the scent of roses, a bittersweet fragrance that contrasted sharply with the unsettling stories surrounding the house. As we stepped inside, the door creaked ominously, echoing through the spacious 2-story home. To our astonishment, the interior was impeccably furnished. The living room was adorned with plush sofas, a coffee table cluttered with magazines, and a rug that had seen better days but was still intact. The kitchen was fully stocked, and the cabinets gleamed despite the passage of time, as if someone had just stepped out moments before. "Guys, this is weird," Emily whispered, her flashlight beam dancing across the room. "Everything's still here. It's like time froze." Curiosity gnawed at us, urging us to explore further. We climbed the grand staircase, our footsteps muffled by the thick carpets. Each bedroom we entered was a snapshot of a forgotten past. The main bedroom boasted a large bed with pristine linens, The children's rooms were scattered with toys and books, and even the most minor details, the curtains swaying gently, the patterns on the rugs, reminded us of a family that once lived and loved here. As we wandered through the house, the atmosphere grew increasingly tense. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional creak of the floorboards or the distant hoot of an owl. It was as if the house held its breath, watching us intrude upon its secrets. "Hey, do you guys hear that?" Jake suddenly asked, his voice barely above a whisper. We paused, listening intently. The faint sound of a car engine struggling to start drifted through the open front door. I glanced back toward the driveway. The car was still there, but something felt off. The engine, which had been running smoothly, now seemed to stutter. Before we could process what was happening, the car sputtered and died, the headlights dimming as the power drained. Panic began to set in. "What do we do now?" Emily cried, her eyes wide with fear. "We need to get out of here," I said, my voice shaky. We hurried down the stairs, but the exit seemed to elongate unnaturally, each step echoing loudly in the stillness. As we reached the front door, our predicament sank in. The car wouldn't start, and we were trapped inside the house. "Guys, look!" One of my friends pointed to the back seat of the car, where a small children's toy lay innocently on the seat. My stomach churned as recognition dawned on him. "Did you take that from the kids' room?" Jake shouted, his voice cracking with fear. "Yeah, I thought it looked cool," he admitted, his face pale. "Man, you better put that toy back now," I demanded, feeling a cold sweat break out across my forehead. In a frenzy, Jake grabbed the toy and bolted out of the car, sprinting back toward the porch. The moment he left, the car seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The engine began to turn over again, and the headlights flickered back to life, though they remained dim. "Do something!" Emily screamed, her voice echoing through the empty halls. Jake didn't hesitate. He grabbed the toy and dashed back into the house, racing to the children's room as if driven by an unseen force. We watched in horror as he vanished through the doorway, the front door swinging shut behind him with a force reverberating through the house. The car immediately sprang to life, the engine roaring smoothly as if nothing had happened. The headlights brightened, cutting through the darkness once more. Without a second thought, we bolted from the house, our footsteps pounding against the gravel driveway as we scrambled into the car. We didn't speak on the drive back, the silence heavy with fear and disbelief. My mind raced, replaying the night's events over and over. The House of Roses had revealed its secrets to us in the most terrifying way possible, a stark reminder of the tragic history that still lingered within its walls. When we finally reached home, the dawn was just beginning to break, casting a pale light over the sleepy town. We never spoke of that night again, but the memory remained etched, a haunting reminder of the unknown forces in the shadows. The House of Roses stood silent and imposing, its beauty a deceptive veil over the darkness that had claimed it so long ago. We knew then that some places are better left unexplored, their mysteries preserved by the passage of time and the weight of their untold stories. With that being said, Cam, thank you so much for sharing your story. Now, if you have a story of your own that you'd like to submit, you can do so right here at Paranormal Nightshift. And before we wrap up, if you enjoy the show and want to support what we do, consider joining us over on Patreon. Not only will you get an ad-free experience and access to episodes a week early, but you'll also unlock all future journeys of the Dimensional Desperado ebook series. But hey, if Patreon isn't your thing, no worries. You can still support the show by subscribing to the podcast on Spotify and YouTube. And while you're there, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about this episode. We love hearing from you. And don't forget, head over to paranormalnightshift.com to grab your free copy of the very first ebook in the Dimensional Desperado series, The Birth of Dimensional Desperado. That's it for now. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and your lights on.